Example E, we're given an angle diagram and we want to work out angle Q. Now this question might seem a little bit unsettling because there doesn't appear to be any other angle that we can work with to help us get Q, but we'll come to that in a minute. If we knew the angle above Q and we knew the angle underneath Q, then we could work out Q, because the angle above and the angle below and angle Q would all be supplementary angles. They would all lie in this straight line and they would span a total angle of 180. So we can't get Q directly, but if we can get the angle above and the angle below, then we can get Q. So how can we get the angle above and the angle below? Well, our attention is then drawn to this triangle below. But it's not any old triangle, it's an equilateral triangle because all of its sides have the same number of dashes on them. So that's telling us it's equilateral. So that also is telling us that all of the angles inside it are the same. So all of the angles inside an equilateral triangle must be 60 degrees. So let's put that in our diagram. So that has now given us the angle below Q. So now we're going to try and get the angle above Q. In order to do that, we're actually going to use the F rule, because the angle that lies above Q and this 60 degrees will be corresponding angles. So to show that, what I'm going to do is I am going to trace over the two lines that this angle above Q lies between. So I'm going to trace over that line. I'm going to trace over this line. So that's going to form part of our letter F. I'm going to continue this line further down until we get to the corner, bottom corner, and then I'm going to trace over the line at the bottom. So now we have our letter F that's upside down, but crucially it contains two parallel lines. So that now tells us that the angle above Q and the angle 60 are corresponding angles because they both lie inside the letter F, they lie at the joints of the F, and they lie on the same side of each parallel line. They both lie above each parallel line. So that means the angle above Q is also 60 degrees. So now we can get Q really easily, because as I said at the start, the angle above Q, Q itself, and the angle below are supplementary angles. They all lie in this same straight line here, and they span a total angle of 180 degrees. So in order to get Q, we're going to add the angle above and the angle below together, and then we're going to subtract that total from 180 to get Q. There's more than one calculation to do here, so we need to show our working out. So we're going to add 60 above and the 60 below. So that's going to give us 120. We're then going to subtract that total from 180. And that's also going to leave us with 60. So that means that angle Q is equal to 60 degrees. Now, we have to give the reason as to how we got our answer. There's actually more than one reason in this question, because we need to go back to the start. How did we get from the start to angle Q? Well, we used the fact that it was an equilateral triangle to get the angle below Q. So we used equilateral triangle. We'll just call that ET for short. We then got the angle above Q by using the F rule. So we'll then write down F rule. And then we were able to get angle Q itself by using angles on a straight line, or supplementary angles. So we'll call that ASL. Okay, so give all the reasons as to how you eventually got your answer. Okay, last example, example F, we want to find angle R. Now straight away you'll notice that angle R is actually inside this quadrilateral here. Now we appear to know the bottom two angles of the quadrilateral, 90 and 50, but we don't appear at the minute to know this angle up here. If we did know the angle up here in the quadrilateral, then getting R would be straightforward. So it all boils down to getting this angle up here. Now how do we do it? Well, we could actually work out the angle above, the angle outside the quadrilateral, by using the F rule, because the angle up here would correspond with this 90-degree angle down there. Because if I draw the two lines that this angle up here lies between, so if I trace over those, and then I continue the vertical line downwards to the corner and trace over the line at the bottom, what we now have is an F, a letter F, which contains two parallel lines. So what that means is that the angle up here and this 90-degree angle are exactly the same because they lie inside the letter F, they lie at the joints of the F, and they both lie on the same side of each parallel line. They both lie above it. So that means the angle up here is also 90 degrees. So that will now allow us to work out this little angle in here, inside the quadrilateral. Because the angle inside the quadrilateral and this angle outside the quadrilateral are supplementary. They are beside each other, they lie in the same straight line, and they span a total angle of 180 degrees. So to get the angle inside the quadrilateral, we're going to subtract this 90 degrees from 180. So 180 subtract 90 is going to leave us with 90. So that's 90 degrees as well. So now we know 3 out of the 4 angles in the quadrilateral. We can now work out angle R. We're going to add the 3 angles together that we know. We're then going to subtract that total from 360, because angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360, and that's going to give us angle R. So let's do the adding first. So we've got 90, we've got another 90, and then we've got an angle of 50. So add those together, so we've got nothing. 9 and 9 is 18, plus 5 is going to give us 23, and there's nothing to carry over to, so that's going to give us a total angle of 230. We then need to subtract this total from 360 to get R. So 360 subtract 230. So that's going to leave us with 130 degrees. So our final answer is that angle R is equal to 130. And then we have to give our reasons again. So rewind right back to the start of the question. How did we get to R? Well, we started off by working this angle out up here. So we used the F rule. We then worked out the angle inside the quadrilateral at this point using angles on a straight line, so ASL. And then finally we worked out angle R by using angles in a quadrilateral. And just to stress, the reason I showed the working out here is because we had to do 2 calculations to get R. Anytime you have to do more than one calculation to get an answer, you must show all your working out.